Welcome back to ATL Day Ones. I'm Tenitra. This is Jarvis, and we appreciate you guys for coming back for segment number two. We're going to do a deep dive into the Braves. And as always, we appreciate you guys for stopping by each and every day, whether you do it on YouTube, where you subscribe to our channel, you give us a like, and you follow us and everybody else on the Locked On Sports Atlanta Network, or you join us wherever you get your podcast. And when you do, whichever platform that is, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. We appreciate it. And you know what, Jarvis? We have to give a 5-star review to the Braves' effort in the series finale
Yes.
against the
Good Lord.
Diamondbacks on Wednesday. You said it. I loved it. I thought it was such a nice euphemistic way to put it. So I'm just going to give you credit for saying the Braves are undefeated in June. There's the line. There's the line.
Right. Right. Ain't no lie for that thing. We tell the truth around here.
Like, give them credit for being undefeated in June, darn it. But
Right.
they had and a nice way to kick off the month of June, if you will, a 6-0 win, third shutout of the season. They avoid the series sweep. They avoid losing three straight. So just a lot of positive takeaways from that game and so many good things that happen on all sides of the ball. So that's where we want to start. It's like what you saw last night was exciting, but what was really that spark for you? What said to you, man, that guy, of all the guys I saw last night, and even if we look at it from the darker days of the two games before that, but of all the guys I saw last night, this guy, man, he gave a spark.
No doubt about it. And it has to be William Contreras. Like you're talking about a guy that just, when you think about the type of play, the way he's been playing all season, right? Like he's batting 302 on the season. He has 7 home runs, and I think he's probably in the top 5 as far as catchers in hitting home runs. So he's just been playing so well when he's gotten the opportunity to get in there and play. And I know that no, he's the backup catcher. I
Mhm.
get it. I understand that. But I think Snitker is has reached the point where he has to make a decision on how to get this man in the lineup every day.
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't care if it's left field. I
Right.
don't care if it's at the DH position. I know they don't want
Mhm.
to put Ozuna out there in left field. I get that. I understand that, but
Right.
you have to figure out a way to get this dude in the lineup. You know what I mean? If
Mhm.
you asking me, who would I rather have, in the lineup, Ozuna in left field or Adam Duvall in left field?
Mhm.
It's Ozuna because I know what Ozuna's been doing at the plate. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So it's kind of like a yin and a yang. Okay, what would I rather have? What do I need the most?
Mhm.
Offense, because your pitching staff is been solid. They've been solid. They've been giving
Mhm.
you good innings, and Kyle Wright went 6 innings yesterday, so
Yeah.
he was able to get that quality start. So all of those things come into play when you start making these decisions, right? Because
Mhm.
we even talked about, like, okay, if I make the decision, this is going to happen. But I
Right.
think that at the end of the day, when you talk about bottom line results
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
what's been going on when this dude is in the lineup,
Yeah.
meaning William Contreras,
Right.
like, good things have happened. And I think
Yeah.
that Snit has to figure out a way to get this dude every day on in the lineup or with his back coming to the plate.
Yeah. You really love, and I love that pick because when you think about Contreras, he has to figure it out. I mean, he only has 19 games this season, and
Right.
so having that type of OPS and having home runs at that clip, that's pretty dang impressive. And yes, that is an absolute spark. So, like you said, whether you put him in left field when he's not catching, or whatever it is that you have to figure out, or if you want to put Heredia in left field because you're worried about Marcel Ozuna being out there. I mean, there are options, and you saw Brian Sticker be creative with the lineup even last night, and you saw Ozuna, Riley, and Contreras combining for 7 hits, and you saw, Riley gets the home run, Contreras gets a couple doubles, and you really kind of see Contreras and how he's able to get that spark. And it was funny because I was like, wait a minute, is that a Guillermo Heredia sighting? So let's just be honest, there are opportunities there, right? To maybe take some people and put them in some places, some players in some places, just to see if it's going to work. Because at this point, with you still about 10 games behind the Mets, it's coming down to the wire where you really have
Yeah.
to start deciding who's going to help and who's not going to help, and what are the creative pieces in the lineup that you can do right now, unless and until you put somebody in that space. But the spark for me, as well as Michael Harris the second, I mean, just the all
Come on,
around play. It was
man.
so cool to see him get his first career RBI. That was cool. Cool to see him get a double. But my God, that diving defensive, that diving catch in the seventh, it's like unbelievable. It was just so amazing. Like I literally had to rewind that a couple times because I was like, wow. And we had just, of course, seen him
Right.
lay out the same way just a couple nights ago. So yeah, I think that for me, he's also that spark because how many times have we seen players you're hoping your prospect comes up and delivers, and actually in the Braves case they've had a lot of prospects to come up and deliver in these last couple of years,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
I believe Jarvis, arguably the pressure maybe even more so than when Acuna Jr. came up and Riley came up recently. I think there was so much pressure on Snit to bring Harris up after a while. Like you got to get him up, and for him to come up and then deliver at this point, he I think has been a huge part of the team. But going back to what we saw last night on offense as well as on defense, it really also reminds me as well. Like okay, like you said, you got it from your starting pitching in Kyle
Mm-hmm.
Wright. You got it from your
Yep.
bullpen. You got the runs that you needed. You shut them down. You shut the D backs down on defense. But what was it last night that you saw that was more important, or we'll say important or encouraging? Your call. Was it what you saw on offense? Or was it what you saw on defense?
It has to be offense, right? Because that's been their biggest struggle from in my eyes, like in the games that they've lost, right? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Because they played a clean game defensively. I think that
Yes.
that's a
Yes.
big piece. Don't get me wrong, that's very important because but you know, like you assume that that's going to happen, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
these guys
Mm-hmm.
are
Yeah.
in a space where, you know, you just got to play like professionals to be able to get it done defensively, right? You got to be
Mm-hmm.
mentally locked in, you
Yes.
know, and I think when you see these guys bats starting to come around, you even see
Mm-hmm.
Dansby getting moved up to the two hole,
Yes.
and he's just been thriving lately. Like I said, I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned Ozuna earlier, Austin
Yes.
Riley
And that three
mashing
hole.
like we
Oh,
know him
Riley.
to do.
Yeah.
Like that's the big piece because when those guys start playing like big boppers at the plate,
Mm-hmm.
that's when the Braves gets going because like you
Yeah.
said, the pitching has been pretty consistent throughout the
Mm-hmm.
season, right? You know, and we know once that starting rotation it starts to get locked in with the Braves. Like
Mm-hmm.
now and traditionally, we
Yes.
know what the team can do. Like once that starting rotation is locked in, we know what the Braves can do. So
Yes.
so I think that for me, it has to be offensively because that's the piece that you have to really really hone in on to try to get
Mhm.
figure out and once you get going, it
Yeah.
just starts a wave and I think that you know like Riley and Swanson and all those
Mhm.
Ozuna, those guys getting
Yeah.
going. I
Yeah.
think it's just a matter of them getting together and
Mhm.
whatever it sparks it. And I think, you know, whatever that spark is, which I think
Whatever
we
it
talked
is.
about, you know,
Mhm.
Contreras and Michael Harris and all those
Mhm.
guys,
Mhm.
like we know that, you know, they can get on a run
Yeah.
and possibly do some things and not necessarily catch the Mets in 1 month
Right.
because like 10 and a half games is 10 and a half games. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Right.
But I think that you know you need to get on a streak to even be in a conversation
Mhm.
to be able to catch those guys in the
Right.
second half of the season.
Right. Or host a wild card game. You
There you
know,
go.
that could be critical as well
Just
to
getting the
just
dance.
exactly just get the dance. But if you can dictate the dance, because of course talking basketball here, but how important was it for the Hawks, for example, to not have to do everything on the road? I mean, yeah, they got it
Yeah.
done against the Cavaliers, but it's important for you if you can do anything to have some type of home court advantage, home field advantage, home park advantage. We
Right.
know how important that is, especially if you're on the climb because you're not necessarily a divisional champion or a number one seed in your conference, respectively. So I would say, too, that at the end of the day, one of the things I like is the offense because how many times have we come here and said that there was a solid outing by the pitcher, but he didn't get any run support? And
Yeah.
so once again, that solid outing goes down in flames. But we hope not to see that tonight. Of course, the Braves kick off a 4 game set versus the Rockies with Ian Anderson getting the start. We know, ooh, he had an unfortunate time the last time, got tagged for 4 runs. Right now, working with a 6.35 ERA. But hey, if the Braves give him some run support, it's all good. So when we come back for the culture, we will talk about how some folks just can't get right no matter how much prodding, assisting, supporting, and mentoring you give them. But guess what? Jarvis and I, we still gonna give you some mentoring. It'll be for the culture on the other side of the break, right here on ATL Day Ones.